What's good? What's good? Let's see if we can get the video to work.
This lecture is called Virtue as a Necessity. And the reason I gave it that title is because virtue, ethics, morality isn't a field of study. It's a mode of being upon which all fields of study rest. It's also a mode of being on which everything you do in your life rests. The way you understand yourself or fail to, the way you understand other people or fail to, and more deeply than that, what role it is that you play in your life, in the world. And one of the things I've learned, for example, being a clinical psychologist, I spent thousands of hours helping people sort out difficult problems, is that lack of virtue makes people ill. I'm not saying that my clients themselves lack virtue. I suppose some of them do and some of them don't, but to the degree that they're embedded in a network of relationships where virtue is fundamentally absent, they're tortured and tormented and they're unable to find firm ground. And
to the degree that they are embedded within a network of relationships where virtue is fundamentally absent, they are tortured and tormented and unable to find firm ground. I ruminate on these words daily. And if you go to that YouTube video, you'll see that I have commented and have commented several times and have had conversations with people who also watch that video and ruminate on those thoughts often, particularly after what we have seen over the last few years. It has been easy to be tolerant with others. Or rather, I should say it was easy to be tolerant with others up until this last event, this scam, whatever we're calling it. What does that have to do with Marcus Aurelius and tolerance? Well, Marcus Aurelius said one should be tolerant with others and strict with themselves. And I think he was wrong. He didn't have a time machine or a history book like we do. But fact check for you, bro. Rome fucking fell. And I think part of that is because they were too tolerant of corruption, too tolerant of excess, too tolerant of pride, too tolerant of how can I say this without getting in trouble? YouTube, you make it hard to make videos, but I think it is very hypocritical that Antifa and the left and those people are very selective in when they like to scream fascist. They are literally like NPCs, like non-player characters, the memes. They're literally fucking memes. Most leftists are literally memes. And it's annoying because they're loud and they're screechy and they're irrational. And I know people like to say that I'm an emotional person, and I acknowledge that I'm extremely emotional and extremely passionate because I have been spiraling downwards for years because nobody has been telling the truth around me. Virtue is gone. Our society is full of weak fucking men. We have tolerated too much. We're drinking too much. We're gambling too much. We're on way too many prescription medications. You want to talk about fascism? Let's talk about the war on drugs. I live in an area called Tacoma, Washington. It's nicknamed Tecompton. And I actually live in like the worst part of the area. Like the details of my living situation are so sketch that I live like there's barbed wire fence around where I live. And there's like, I can literally see a homeless camp from my porch. And so when I get really passionate about like fascism, and I want to talk about how it has manifested in our real world, I want to talk about this homelessness problem that we have, and the addiction problem, and the mental health problem, and all of these correlated problems that are all connected to the corruption that we have tolerated for too long. Bureaucracy, the theft of your resources, of our community's resources, the restriction to healing plant medicines. This is fascism. And we must stop tolerating it. We must stop tolerating our friends who do not hold themselves to high standards. We must stop tolerating this nonsense. Okay, that was, I was on a roll and then I lost it. I'm not like normally a super serious person. So like when I get in those modes, it's like, okay, I can be a serious person. And I think it's important to be serious and silly. But this is seriously a spiritual war, my brothers and sisters. Like, no fucking joke. And if you have not yet received your call to action, hopefully this was it. Sorry for yelling at you, but thank you for listening. Much love, y'all.